It's the 5th of August and I'm Tom Glasson. Welcome to The Roast. Tonight, we take a look at what's been happening in the world of Operation Sovereign Borders. And you know, out of all the horrible things our border protectors have to deal with out there on the open water, things like pirates, sharks, sexy sharks, salty water, Dennis Hopper, an angry Poseidon, mega shark versus giant octopus, Harold Holt, Freed Willy, bearded Tom Hanks, Wilson, ghost ships, Kid P, Shark P, My P, a swarm of screeching eels who always get louder before they kill, and James Cameron, the Australian government will tell you asylum seekers are worse. Although, in fairness to the government, they are correct, because I've never heard of a bearded Tom Hanks coming into my country and taking my job. I mean, he could, of course, the man is immensely talented. But before I get replaced by Colin Hanks' dad, here is Mark Humphries with the headlines.
James Packer, the man who won't rest until everyone has their own poker machine, is building a new casino in Las Vegas, finally addressing Las Vegas's dearth of casinos. Mr. Packer, seen here in a business meeting, paid $280 million for a site on Las Vegas Boulevard. Las Vegas, of course, is Spanish, with Las meaning loss and Vegas meaning house.
You can't be in the gaming industry and not have a special reverence for Las Vegas. That's where it all began.
And where it all ended for scores of gambling addicts. The casino seems to be destined for glory because Packer's co-chairman Andrew Pascal knows Vegas like the back of his blinged out hand.
For over 25 years, I've studied the ever-shifting Las Vegas landscape. I've always been inspired by this city's capacity for reinvention.
So true, Vegas is constantly reinventing itself. Back in the 90s it was just casinos, whereas now Las Vegas has casinos and casinos. Packer's group hopes to start development on their casino in late 2015 and commence destroying lives by 2018. Two Victorian Liberal candidates have resigned over offensive comments they made on social media. Victorian Premier Dennis Napthine, however, has refused to resign for whatever the hell this was.
Happy birthday, big boy.
An Australian athlete has crashed the Commonwealth Games closing ceremony in Glasgow, ruining an otherwise excellent closing ceremony, I imagine. Steeplechase runner Genevieve Lacaze got up on stage during a performance by Kylie Minogue, where she seamlessly blended in with the shirtless male dancers. Genevieve was on the verge of turning 25, so thought she would make the most of it.
I just kind of got up there and had my little bit of birthday celebration and limelight.
So after competing in front of millions at the 2012 Olympic Games and the 2014 Commonwealth Games, what this girl needed was limelight. Fortunately for Genevieve, the professional dancers on stage, who'd been training for this moment for weeks, didn't want any limelight. How would she like it?
On your marks.
Hey Genevieve, look, now I'm a runner. Oh, isn't it fun to have your job treated with disrespect? No, it's okay, it's my birthday. I'm not arrogant, I'm American.
And finally, Family Ties star Meredith Baxter has joined the cast of The Young and the Restless. She will be playing Restless. For The Roast, I'm Mark Humphries.
Ooh, I wonder if that means the role of the young and is still available.
Oh, I don't know about that, Tom. You definitely don't feel young to me. No, I'd say you have an acute case of the Meredith Baxterisms.
Oh no.
I'm prescribing you an immediate lumbar puncture, followed by broad-spectrum antibiotics.
Sure.
All right, now cough for me.
All right. First up, this is Killing Us This Week.
Really know what I'm feeling for.
No, you'll find it. So, what's killing us this week?
Medicine.
Thank you, death. Yes, according to a new report, pharmaceutical company Boehringer Ingelheim has been accused of putting marketing ahead of safety with their blood-thinning drug, Pradaxa.
Now, Tom, as a representative of Big Blood Thinner, I've been paid to tell you that Pradaxa is guaranteed to not put you at any risk whatsoever.
That's terrific.
Yeah, as long as you don't swallow it!
Right. Well, according to the British Medical Journal, some surgeons who used the blood thinner were phoning up the company asking what to do to stem the bleeding.
Which is ridiculous, because if they'd done their research, those surgeons would know there is no antidote to internal bleeding caused by Pradaxa. So the real problem here isn't Pradaxa, it's patients who can't even clot their own blood. How many times do I have to say it? Get on an airplane and don't move for 10 hours.
But Nick, Pradaxa does sometimes come with minor side effects, including abdominal bleeding, brain hemorrhages, strokes, and heart attacks.
Strokes from Pradaxa? You know what's good for that? Pradaxa. You'll stop smelling burnt toast in no time.
I also couldn't help but notice those side effects aren't mentioned on the packaging.
No, of course not, Tom. You've always got to put your best foot forward, especially if your other foot's bleeding uncontrollably. Nobody wants to see that.
Still.
Look, I'll admit the risks were probably clearer on the first draft for Pradaxa's packaging. To say nothing of that initial late-night commercial they ran.
Even so, maybe I should stop taking it just in case.
Oh no, for the love of God, don't do that.
Despite the concerns, health authorities say it's crucial people on Pradaxa continue to take it because stopping suddenly could be dangerous.
Okay, so Nick, I feel like the question I need to ask myself is this. Should I not take Pradaxa and run the risk of a stroke, or take it and run the risk of abdominal bleeding, brain hemorrhages, and a stroke?
That's right, Tom. Besides, coming into summer, I think we can all agree death is a small price to pay for sexy, thin blood. Trust me, the manufacturer gave me a glossy brochure and a free pen.
Okay, so it looks like this week, what's killing us is...
medicine. Can I interest you in some Pradaxa?
Get away from me!
I'll put you down for one.
Is the medicine you're taking potentially dangerous? Would the cessation of taking that medicine also be dangerous? Is your medicine some kind of Russian roulette gun filled with pills? We'd love to hear about it at the Roast TV or hashtag RoastTV.
Well, it's been a busy few weeks for the Immigration Minister Scott Morrison, seen here facing up to his political enemies, with a national inquiry into children in immigration detention, High Court challenges, and the first arrival of asylum seekers in Australian territory in 7 months. The drama on the high seas involving 157 Tamil asylum seekers is an affair that has been shrouded in a level of secrecy usually reserved for wartime, espionage, and Apple product launches. So what actually happened? How did a group of asylum seekers end up detained by the Australian Navy in international waters and at the centre of a High Court case? Thankfully, the roast is on the scent.
On the scent, the 157 Tamil asylum seekers. June 13. 157 people, including 50 children, leave India to seek asylum in Australia. But they're intercepted by Australian customs and told it's time for a staycation because the best getaways are back to the places you're escaping from. So we pop them onto the Ocean Protector, an armed customs vessel that has been proudly protecting Australian oceans from asylum seekers for years. But India says no dice, refusing to take Tamil asylum seekers who aren't Indian citizens. Who does India think they are? Some sort of Australia? So they set sail back to Christmas Island and no, hang on, wait a second. No, they didn't. Where did they go? There's like 25 days here unaccounted for. Surely they didn't just float around for a month. They did? For the whole month? So what was happening back in Australia?
In a dramatic development tonight, the High Court has ordered a temporary halt on the transfer of more than 150 asylum seekers from Australia's border control to the Sri Lankan Navy.
Oh, yeah, I see. Well, with only night class in piloting lifeboats back to India to keep them occupied, a decision was made to take them to Australian territory, the sunny Cocos Islands. And they lived happily ever after on a tiny Pacific atoll. Oh no, sorry, I misread that. They got sent to Curtin Detention Centre, then transferred by cover of night to Nauru. Oh well, must be nice going back to a Pacific island. Assuming they enjoy fire, indefinite detention and riots. So instead of just being processed at Christmas Island, 157 people were sent on the world's worst Kentucky tour at huge cost to the Australian taxpayer. Personally, I would have just taken the shortcut. But it's probably full of hydras and whirlpools and Wilson and sexy sharks. And that's the roast on the scent.
Honestly, Scott Morrison and his obsession with zero boat arrivals. Truly, I've not seen someone go to such lengths to protect a perfect score since I stole Street Fighter from Time Zone.
Come on! Hadouken! Come on!
And look, sure, Time Zone wasn't happy about it, but since I took it, no Street Fighter machines have died at sea, so can't argue with that logic. Good night.
Round one, fight! Hadouken!